You're listening to episode 244 of Lifestyle Locker Radio with Shauna Reiter.
Hi, I'm Dr. Josh Hant, and welcome to Lifestyle Locker Radio, where we help you create an awesome life and lifestyle. From nutrition to fitness, mindfulness to peak performance, and relationships to money mindset, we bring you on an amazing journey to help you unleash your human potential. Hey everyone, welcome back to Lifestyle Locker Radio. We have another amazing guest today. This person's got a great story. We're going to dive deep. So Shauna, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy for you to be here too. I love the pre-recording conversations that I get to have. I love that I get to talk to real people and that I get to hear real stories and the concerns of health and all the things that are going on around the world now. But we're going to dive very specifically into your story first, because I want you to take people back to what drove you to what you're doing today.
Thank you, doctor. Well, for starters, as a very young person in my teens, I struggled a lot with different autoimmune conditions. And I tried everything from prednisone, which is a heavy-duty steroid, to Asacol, and all other kinds of Western drugs, and found myself in a vicious cycle of fatigue and pain that I couldn't quite escape from. And it took me a while, but I basically pressed the reset button and examined all of the facets of my life. This was based on necessity, right? Not many 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds kind of stop their lives and go, what isn't working, right? Usually it takes until around our 30s or 40s to do so, but there's nothing like a good teenage crisis to set change into motion. And what I discovered was that health for me meant healthy eating, a certain level of mindfulness, which I didn't know the terminology for at the time, but essentially now retrospectively, I realized that what I was doing was very consciously calculating different areas of my life and understanding what would serve me best. So reevaluating my diet, my lifestyle habits, my sleep patterns. When am I waking up? When am I going to bed? What am I doing throughout my day to relax and feel in tune with my body? What's my level of awareness, about my emotional state? What are my calming mechanisms when I'm stressed and have anxiety? All of those things played a major role in health. But the thing that was easiest for me to control was food and nutrition, right? The psychological aspects of health, the mental health components are a little bit more complex and take a little bit longer, I think, to unpack. But food is fairly transparent and it's tangible, and we can be taught about it very directly. Now, understanding the individual needs of the body is a bit of a journey, because I do believe everyone has different needs. And even every individual, depending on the day they've had, has different requirements. But for me, the food became a very colorful sort of exploration as I did a deep dive into really what made me feel well and have energy, and what made me feel really sick and tired. And I sort of crawled my way out of some different autoimmune conditions, including Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, and a number of insomnia, a number of different things, primarily through food and Chinese herbs. And then again in my 20s, kind of went off track, as we tend to do when we're excited and have a lot of energy and feel on fire. And I had been living a very meticulous and sort of calculated life with all of these strategies that I had developed in my early teens, and then had to kind of rediscover what was going to work with my new lifestyle, being an independent, autonomous woman in my 20s. And what that meant for me was finding a kind of new normal. But what all roads led back to ultimately was the nutrition and health piece. So I had some issues with chronic bronchitis and chronic sinusitis in my 20s. Again, I went to a Chinese practitioner, did some acupuncture, got some herbs, but ultimately he looked at my tongue and said, "You eat too much sugar." And I said, "Oh no, I love to bake. I love brownies." And he said, "Eat dates, you get 2 dates a day." And it was really my way of kind of taking another deep breath and reevaluating and saying what's working, what's not, how much sleep am I getting, what's my outlook on life, where am I emotionally expending too much energy, and how is that playing a role on my dietary choices, because all of these things are inextricably bound. And I got myself back on track. And then I had 2 children in 24 months and breastfed for 5 years and got tired. Right. And so it was really after the birth of my daughter that Alaya Naturals was birthed, because once again, I found myself feeling depleted, not living up to my potential. My mood tends to be very enmeshed with my lifestyle habits, and particularly what I eat and how much sleep I'm getting. And with a newborn and a barely 2-year-old, I was stressed to the max and really pushing the limits. It's very hard to have boundaries when you have little kids, right? Because you're a servant to them ultimately. And, they always say for a mother to put the oxygen mask on first, but it's much easier said than done when you've got a little person waking you up all night and then another tiny person needing you first thing in the morning. So I found myself once again checking in and saying, what do I need now? My needs had shifted. My needs in my 20s were very different from my needs in my teens. And as a mother of 2 small children, my needs once again changed. And I was looking for a solution through, once again, health and wellness and supplementation. And I couldn't find what I was looking for. And I got very lucky because I had an idea to start a line of, supplements, really catering more to the breastfeeding and new mother community. And then realized at a certain point that I wasn't always going to be a mother of small children who was breastfeeding, and I wanted something that would serve me and nourish me in the long run. And so I took all of those ideas that I had initially had for a line for new mothers, and I just expanded it and tweaked it. And I gave birth to Alaya Naturals.
Very cool. So I just want to circle back for a second. I was listening when you were saying, I started to, change my eating habits. I started to change my food. And then Chinese, I thought you were going to say eating Chinese food. I'm like, oh gosh, she's not
it was a Chinese. Yeah, all I ate 24/7 was Chinese food.
The pause got me.
It's called the Chinese food diet.
I'm like, you would not. I wouldn't be talking to this person I'm talking to right now if that was her diet.
I have to say though, there are very clean ways to eat Chinese food. Unfortunately, Americanized Chinese food is not real Chinese food. I have a girlfriend who went to the Chinese countryside, and she said that the food is more flavorful and fresh and seasonal and agriculturally their practices, the soil, maybe because of environmental factors, is a little contaminated, but the agricultural practices are mindful. And then of course it's Western civilization. We just unfortunately add
junk and sugar, and
we decide that we
need
all kinds of preservatives and things. But no, the food piece has always been key. So no, it was not Chinese.
I know. I just, I'm just listening. I was like, this is like, I was hearing that in slow motion. I'm like, oh God, she's going to say Chinese food somehow
on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. I want to fall over. So we have the product line, when you were a nursing mother, what was the, not the concern is the right word, but what with the product thoughts, okay, I'm nursing mother. I have, the back-to-back kids.
Yeah. Well, really, you just don't have enough time, unfortunately. You are so spent. I mean, even now, frankly, but it's just gotten easier. My kids just turned 4 and 6. And so I'm feeling like we've reached a turning point only recently, but for a large period of time, for a long period of time, there is very little time for a mother to have, a lot of balance and self-care. And additionally, you just never really feel like you're getting enough when you're breastfeeding in particular. It doesn't matter how much you eat, breastfeeding strips pounds of minerals from your body. And unless you're literally spending your entire day, chopping vegetables and fruit and, making gorgeous, proteins and complex carb platters and all the things, unless that's your entire life, you're exhausted. You're also up around the clock. And so your blood sugar is imbalanced. I mean, it takes so much, both awareness and also intentionality and time that unfortunately for me just wasn't realistic. Now, in other cultures, there are family members and, tribes supporting women after childbirth, and they bring food to women on platters in bed, and they're rested and they're cared for, and everything is made for them. And that's just not how it is for a lot of, American women. It certainly wasn't my story. I had no one
Yeah.
serving me food and making food for me. I eventually found someone, by the way, after reading a postpartum book about how in Latin America and in Asian cultures, they really treat women almost as newborns, right? Like
Yeah. During that time, right?
they're nurtured, really the way you care for a small child, right? Because the mother is responsible for new life. And so they need to be sustained and motivated and supported and nourished in ways that they can't possibly be expected to do for themselves. I mean, that's why I think so many women crack.
Yeah.
I think, postpartum depression is a real thing. I think it's largely chemical, but I think a lot of it, honestly, is just burnout because we're not properly supported as women after
Yeah.
childbirth. And so I felt like no matter what I ate, I wasn't satisfied. And it wasn't that I was hungry necessarily, although I was most of the
Yeah. Yeah.
time,
Of course. You're burning
but I,
calories
I
like
could
crazy.
feel like my cognitive decline happen. I could feel my blood sugar being wonky and my body imbalanced. I could just feel that regardless of what I was taking in, I either wasn't metabolizing it and digesting it well, or it was going to the baby, or it was disrupted because, I was in the middle of a meal and someone needed me. And so I thought to myself, gosh, what I need is, because I'm so focused and sort of like obsessed with nutrition, what I need is to feel like I'm going to have all of my needs met in a way that's really direct and simplified so that I don't feel responsible for putting these massive meals together. So it really started with the powders. That was my initial
Okay.
idea, was like protein powder, an organic greens blend. So, you're getting all of the micronutrients
Hmm.
that, which also my blend includes a probiotic, a great probiotic, and collagen, which is great for stretch marks when you have a new child, but also as a woman who's, entering her 40s, it's great for all manner of aging.
Yeah.
And
Men too. Men too.
yeah,
Men.
and
Men use
men
college.
too. Men use we all need collagen. And so, I mean, truly, we all need collagen. And
Mhm.
so it started with those things. And then I basically extended my personal medicine cabinet. So, a great probiotic. I'm super excited because I just developed a symbiotic, which is a prebiotic and the probiotic in one. Um, the fish oils and the olive leaf extract, which is my personal, antibiotic. My go-to when I'm not well is the olive leaf extract, and the, spirulina for energy and detoxification. I basically looked at all of my physical and mental
Mm.
needs and said, what's the balancing act? And it's a very small collection, of supplements, and which we're about to expand rather, um, widely. But I wanted to take my time and really look at what are the core needs of my body, and how do I, create a line that's sustainably sourced and, environmentally conscious,
Mhm.
and where I trust what I'm putting in, because my kids are consuming this. I mean, I was consuming this while I was still
Yeah.
breastfeeding. And then, my kids were drinking the protein powders, the first, smoothies they ever had. I was experimenting on them, going,
A
hey,
family
how does
experiment,
this
right?
taste? Well, kids don't lie.
Yeah.
And so basically I've been continuing to extend my medicine cabinet once I feel like I've, adequately perfected what's already on the market.
Yeah. I mean, that's really neat. Well, and I hate to use the word dummy, but being your own test dummy is probably the best. I am no different. I don't have a supplement line, but I'm no different in testing everything. I mean, I track most things, sleep and
Mm.
movement and what goes in my body, what goes out of my body. Like all of those
Yeah.
are very important to me because we didn't discuss this earlier, but I'm an ultra marathoner, and so
Oh, wow.
fuel is super, super, super important, not only for
Yes.
performance, which people like, oh, you got to be able to, do your
Right.
thing. I go, yes. And as important is the day after
Recovery.
and the day after,
Recovery. Yeah. And
right? The
also
recovery,
10
100%.
days in and 2 months after because you want to do another one. I mean,
Oh yeah,
that's
and I do.
right.
So
Oh, are you really?
and I
Wow,
do.
that's impressive. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not a runner. I mean, I can run. I'm actually a pretty fast runner. I just only run if I'm about to miss a plane. I just choose to cruise most of the time. But I have to say, I think for me, it would be like, check, I've checked the box. But I have a girlfriend who's run, I mean, she's probably run 30 marathons. She
That's
runs
so cool.
a marathon every year, and she also runs like half marathons periodically.
Yeah.
She'll go to different states when she's maxed
Yeah.
out, in her state.
Yeah.
But she's definitely playing the long game, and there are very different considerations for people who
Hmm.
want to live long, healthy lives
Yeah.
where they're, cognitively sharp and awake and active and alert
Hmm.
and ready to take on whatever challenges come their way, and physically able to respond to, whatever
Hmm.
stimulus is,
Yeah.
is showing up. And versus, gosh, I want to look great, it's springtime now and
Hmm.
bikini weathers, and I
Yeah.
want to look great for the next 2 weeks. It's a very different consideration when you're
Yeah.
playing the long game.
And I think, just like talking about going to the supplements, I'm so on board with the philosophy that, the mom like has no time whatsoever. And then my sister, my nephews, right? Like my sister and
Yeah.
brother-in-law, my nephews are, I think, like 3 and change and just like 1.5. And yeah, I see like my sisters, I
Yeah.
could see it.
You
And
see
they
them
live,
unraveling.
yeah. Well, no, they
You
live
see
in
them
Florida. So
deteriorating day by day. Oh
no, not
no.
that
Okay.
bad.
No, I'm just
But yeah,
joking.
but no, I mean, the stressors of staying up late, waking up every
Yeah.
hour, whatever it may be,
Right.
but using and you need like that, I don't say quick fix, but um you need that dose of health,
Boost.
like when you can get it,
Yeah.
like, and how
You
you get
need
it
that
is
boost.
important.
Absolutely.
But that also, I think, to that point, we look at the average American
Hmm.
alone, like it's like they're overstressed, they're
Yeah.
overworked.
Right.
And when they're not overstressed, overworked, they're stuck either on social media or in front of a TV. So they're not moving and
Right.
they're eating easy food.
Sure.
And it's like they wonder why, like, why am I so tired at the end of
Right.
a day?
And
You know?
processed foods. And listen, I
Yeah.
mean, this is we're talking about my story. So I'm a mother.
Yeah.
My husband's in the same boat. I mean, he right
Yeah.
now is working crazy hours. He doesn't care for himself properly all the time. And so, I mean, I'm always pushing supplements on him and
Mm.
smoothies and stuff like that because I know otherwise he's not going to get his needs met.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're doing and where you are in
Hmm.
life. Everyone we live, our bodies, our souls, our psyches are not meant for this modern world. I think
Yeah.
technology has developed a lot faster than our very
And
primal
yeah.
sort of, brain has. And so we're still little apes, like just trying to figure it out on this planet.
Hmm.
And things are moving really fast, and that's stressful.
Yeah.
And so everyone has different requirements, but ultimately we all need to be doing a certain level of detoxification on a
Hmm.
regular basis, and then replenishing with really nourishing wholesome foods and thoughts and ideas, and
Yeah.
being inspired and understanding, what does balance look like for me now, and what does it look like for me tomorrow, and how is that different from yesterday.
Yeah.
It's really, I think, looking at all of the facets of what wellness is. I mean, if I were popping my supplements and drinking my smoothies while, torturing myself on Facebook, and looking
Yeah.
at people's perfect lives and comparing mine
Yeah.
and, all of those, I'm not sure how like sustainable that would be in the long run, right? Like I think that the mental and psychological considerations are as important and can actually counter a lot of our efforts physically if, we're not in alignment with our
Yeah.
higher purpose and what it is we want to do on this planet, and how we're, behaving with, and especially in terms of our relationship with ourselves first and
Yeah.
foremost. So cultivating that awareness, I think, is what supports our ability to metabolize and digest nutrition. But I personally have found that I feel when I'm not absorbing nutrients and minerals, and it's often when I'm stressed,
Hmm.
or when I'm thinking about things that really aren't relevant to my life, or I've gone on a tangent like I am right now. No, when I've got, that's, I kind of live in tangents. I think it's much more interesting. But
Yeah.
when I'm on when I'm tangential from, what I know my path is, and so all of those things I think affect our ability to receive nutrition.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
looking at the
Agreed.
bigger picture is essential.
Yeah. I was just on a mastermind call before this, and we had that conversation about
Mm.
maybe not going off on a tangent, but like your energy goes where you focus. Right. So
Oh
if you're like
yeah, what
stuck
you
in the
focus.
chaos of things,
Mm-hmm.
you just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. I mean, it changes everything. Your physiology manifests, like the people
Right.
you're around, it affects them as well. And yeah, I see it across the board. And I was that person for a part of the time in 2020. I was just so fed up with everything. I
Yeah.
decided like I'm better serving my people, my friends, my family if I tune that out or put very
Mm-hmm.
little energy into it and put the 90% into things that are going to make me healthier, make me happier, help other people, like, and put that
Right.
it, and it works. I mean, it shows up everywhere in life, from my mental health, if you will, just like being happier, to my
Yeah.
finances, like everything across the board gets better. I'm like, oh,
Right.
aha, like
Yeah.
it's pretty wild.
Right. Well, we know that, there's confirmation bias and all of these ways that our mind, tricks us into
Mhm.
staying on course. But if the course is a faulty one, we want
Yeah,
to get off, right?
yes, we
And
do.
so if we're focusing our energy on something, it tends to be the thing that we see everywhere around us in the world, right? And so, like, for instance, if I'm thinking about spirulina,
Yeah,
suddenly it's the only thing I see at the supermarket on the
of
shelves,
course, of
right?
course.
Like if I'm formulating something, or if I'm, getting ready to guest on a podcast and I am listening to someone, all I'm thinking about is through the lenses of that person's voice, what that person was saying and then I'm seeing it in the world around. We're constantly projecting. If you're pregnant, everyone around you is pregnant all of a
Mhm.
sudden, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so yes, what we put our attention on grows stronger and
Mhm.
everything else is minimized. I'm actually teaching my son that lesson right now. He just turned 6.
Yeah, it's
And
great.
man, these kids have such powerful imaginations. They are so active and wild in the way we think. And part of me is just super inspired by it because I'm like, wow, I used to be that way. I mean, even in my 20s, it was like anything is possible, everything is possible. What do I want? How can I get it? I will get it?
Mhm.
And with kids, they don't know the difference often between reality and fantasy. I mean, my daughter literally is like, is a rhinoceros real? And in my mind, I'm laughing, like, of course it is.
Yeah.
But why would a rhinoceros be real, but not a unicorn or a pegasus? I mean,
Yeah.
they all have horns, right? And they all
Mhm.
look kind of strange. Like she's just figuring it all out. But to her, everything is possible. And so the
Yeah.
conversation I'm having with my son, especially because he's now at a place where his imagination is being implemented into action, right?
Yeah.
Because he's now fighting a dinosaur and this thing, and there's
Yeah.
this whole like game playing out all the time. And the conversation I'm having with him is you create a large portion of your reality and your thoughts are very powerful. So, I'm not telling him, be careful of what you say because I don't want him to have anxiety
Mhm.
or edit himself prematurely. He's too little to be edited.
Yeah, of
But
course.
what I will say to him is, you are very powerful. Your mind is very powerful, and what you think about may become real. So let's talk about what you're thinking about. I want to hear about it because do you want that to become real? Is that
Yeah.
because that's a choice you're making by thinking
Yeah.
about this or by playing that game,
Mhm.
And so, and then again, having to sift through fantasy versus reality. And we're all, in a way, living some version of confusion between fantasy and
Yeah.
reality, right? Because you look at Facebook and that's not reality. That's not a person's
Exactly.
real entire, it's a snapshot of their life.
Yeah.
It may not be, you know, um, a figment of our imagination. It's obviously a piece, a portion, but it's not comprehensive. And we're the ones painting, a picture over it or creating a story around it. And so the conversation I continue to have with myself and my son is, okay, if what my attention on grows, what I put my attention on grows stronger, what's the divide between fantasy and reality? If I
Yeah.
want to imagine something into reality, imagination plays a very important role, but also I have to be concrete and make practical plans and all
Yeah.
these things. So it's a fascinating conversation, but looking at it through the lenses of a small child kind of brings us
Yeah.
back to like the basics.
And the possibility.
the
Right.
possibility and also the power, because
Yeah.
we forget as adults, we've habituated thinking and overanalyzing and not
Yeah.
trusting our intuition and listening to what other people say because it's a more popular opinion, or because we don't want to be fired by our boss or laughed at by our coworkers, or because we're being peer pressured. Little kids, by and large, don't have that. They don't
Mhm.
have those, extreme filters. They
Yeah.
just say what they feel and they think what they think, and they think it's okay to say whatever they think and feel. And
Mhm.
there's an element of that that's very refreshing,
Yeah.
you know? So I love kind of getting back to the basics with my son and going like, oh, wow, that is so true.
Yeah.
And here's maybe why we wouldn't say it in this place.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, this is really neat, because I think that, with creating a product line and creating something that, was designed to really help you, but now you get to share it with the world. That came from that place. It didn't come from over analyzing and overthinking. It was just like,
Right.
I need to figure this out now. Like, I
Right.
can figure this out now. And, fast forward however long it took you to get there,
Yeah.
like, you have something that's tangible. You have something that's
Yes.
impacting your life, your family's life, and
Right.
kids and adults, and, and around possibly around the world. Right.
Yeah.
Because, food, I like that term, like, food is medicine. I really
Hmm.
do. I don't like the word medicine, because now it has a really bad connotation in my
Right.
head, because it doesn't mean
Right.
good. But it's powerful. I mean, it can lift you up. When we're talking about, like, headspace, food can change that. I can
Absolutely.
help you change that.
Yeah.
I want you to talk a little bit about, like, the stuff, that the products you have, and what some of your favorites are, and why,
Sure.
and how it's impacted you, like the stuff you actually get to take of yours, that you get to see manifest
Yeah.
in your own life, your family's life.
Yeah, thank you. I will answer that question. And just to respond to what you just said, because it's so important. And, I did have a vision, but I wasn't entirely clear on every aspect of how it would play out, what the details would look like, what my packaging would look like. Obviously, things evolve over time. But what I started with was a feeling. And the feeling was something's not right in my life and in my body. I'm not in balance and I want to bring myself into balance.
Mhm.
And then the feeling expanded to I want other people to have this experience. It's really important to me that other people have access to this quality of sustainable, pure nutrition. And as I continued on in building the product line, I was always very clear on my mission and my statement, which was that I want to bring other people health and wellness on this level. And so, for other people starting businesses and approaching their wellness journey, it can be very overwhelming at times. I think to always come back to the feeling that you want to have is a great foundational place to start, right? Whether it's, I want to have more energy, or I want to sleep better, or I want more clarity, you know, peace of mind, whatever it is, I want better digestion.
Mhm.
You start with the feeling you want to have, and that extends into the larger paradigm of what we were talking about in terms of creation and putting our energy into manifesting
Mhm.
larger dreams, right? The feeling I wanted to have for myself was I wanted energy and I wanted to sleep better. And the feeling I wanted to have on a larger scale was that I was contributing something meaningful and valuable to the world. So for me, a daily essential is a probiotic. You know this as a chiropractor and as
Mhm.
someone who's studying wellness, to have a really solid microbiome where things are balanced and there's a really great, you got all the great
Mhm.
bacteria in there
Yeah.
is so important. And so that's something I take every single day without fail. I also have a daily smoothie and I add all my powders to it because I feel like once I have that like locked in, it gives me a little bit more leeway to get distracted, and not have time to be as meticulous with, my other choices. So I put my collagen in it, I have some protein, and I have my organic super greens blend, which has adaptogens and antioxidants and another probiotic, as well as all of those beautiful green micronutrients. So those are my staples. I also do the fish oil pretty much daily. Um, The spirulina I do on days where I have a lot going on and I know I'm going to need a little bit of an energy boost, or when I've been a little bit naughty, when I have been eating more than my 2 dates and I've had some muffins and cookies and other deliciousness, and I want to detoxify a little bit. And everything else I kind of take just as needed. The olive leaf extract is antimicrobial, antibacterial, antiviral. It's been used for thousands of years in the Mediterranean, and is a beautiful supplement to have on hand, as a kind of not a replacement to an antibiotic, because there are times and places where antibiotics can be life-saving. But, for me, the olive leaf extract in conjunction with maybe some oil of oregano. That's it, and a little bit of garlic. It's a great way to just knock anything out of the system.
Yeah.
In 20 years, I've only taken one antibiotic for an infection that I let go too long before treating it. And for everything else, including things like strep throat, I've handled everything holistically. So do you have any other questions about specifics or?
Well, so we have like the general, which I think is always good for people to have that big picture view. We have our audience, many have very active lifestyles. Whether they're a runner, whether they're a biker, hiker, whatever it may be, like they're or meditator, right? Like that, like they have active, healthy lifestyles. So if you want to pick, the runner, pick the mom, or pick somebody that really dial into and say, like, these are some great things and this is why, that would be awesome.
I think what's wonderful is that for every category of person, collagen and the organic super greens blend are necessary, right? Because collagen are the proteins that hold our whole body together. So if you're running, it's a beautiful thing to do, but it also is quite taxing to the body. And as we age, I'm sure significantly more taxing, all the pounding and pressure and all of that. And just the pulling apart and piecing together of our bodies is constantly occurring, and the collagen helps just piece everything together. And like I said, the greens is great because it just provides so much. And I feel such a huge difference. The greens is one of the supplements where, you really do feel the difference. Something like a fish oil, I know that it's benefiting me. I've been told I have really shiny hair, like great skin. I feel like it's because I do a lot of omega-3s, but something like the greens, if I take it an hour later, an hour and a half, like I can feel myself rev up and be alive and awake for the day. So I would recommend both of those things for anyone wanting energy, including an athlete, a business professional who's working around the clock. I'm running a company, I've got 2 small children at home during COVID. I'm doing a lot of guesting on podcasts. I just finished a memoir about a month ago that I'm now pitching to agents. I've got a lot going on and a lot of multitasking. And I feel like those things together are what keep me alive, truly, and not looking like, I'm scraping along the street, just barely making it.
Yeah. Well, there is something to say, and I'm just going to resonate with you. I'll show up after a 50-mile ultra marathon that I ran on Saturday. I'll go to work on Monday and I can bend, I adjust people all day. And people are like, didn't you say you were running a marathon, like a 50-mile crazy thing? I go, yeah. They're like, you can bend and move. I go, yeah. They're like, how?
Right.
Like, I see people at the end of a regular marathon, even a half marathon, that are like grabbing their legs, rolling around on the floor in pain.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's obviously your training, but that's the mental, the physical, emotional, all of that training that we have. Right. And the nutrition piece of it is the rocket fuel that keeps us going and healing, like we said. So, yeah.
I think biotin is great too, for, just good compliment to the collagen. I do, because it just keeps your hair, strong and healthy, and your nails. And listen, I'm going to be 40 in July. And things are changing, man. Like all of a sudden, things are changing.
Not a bad number. It's not a bad number. Been there, done that.
Yeah. I appreciate that disclaimer and that encouragement.
You get a quarter life crisis. That's a big deal.
Well, I crisis regularly, and I think it's important because if we don't reevaluate, we just I at least, go on cruise control. I'm not interested in living a mediocre life or an ordinary life. I really want to live an extraordinary life that feels super fulfilling. So for me, sometimes crisis is a catalyst to that. Now, I've gotten out of actual crisis. So
Yeah.
I jokingly say I have crises on a regular basis, but my crises kind of look like, how am I feeling about all this? Meaning everything.
Hmm.
Like what's working, what's not, what
Yeah.
friends are feeling like we're vibing, and who is just taking and taking a lot and I'm not feeling replenished after these conversations, or like where is the communication in my marriage kind of gone astray, or it's like I do that really frequently because otherwise, I've seen what doesn't happen, which is,
Hmm.
we don't stay well.
Yeah.
And for me, those check-ins and kind of, biannual crises are quite helpful.
Yeah. Well, no, I agree. I mean, it's growth and change and challenge, or growth and change happen from that challenge or that crisis all the time,
I'm just
all
so
the time.
curious because I have you like literally in front of me.
Mhm.
What are some of your tips for staying well when you're literally on the run?
Um, well, I mean, my whole life I've been brought up. I joke with people. I say I'm the unvaccinated, fire walking, ultra marathoning chiropractor.
Is this a Tony Robbins reference?
No, but
The
this is
fire
me. No, no, I've
walking?
been fire
Oh,
walking
okay.
pre Tony Robbins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He
So I,
stole your fire
not me,
walking
not my. Well,
history.
I grew up in a very odd family, but nonetheless, so I was doing fire walks and sweat lodges and vision
Oh,
quests at like your son's age, right?
oh my gosh.
Like to give you an idea.
Here,
So that's
I thought we were ahead of the game because he was drinking a chocolate smoothie. We got to
yeah.
get some coals
Well,
in this
listen,
house.
I didn't like nutrition wasn't really such a cool thing back then, so it took me a while to get into that
Uh-huh.
part. So he's definitely got that one up for sure. But what I do, I've been getting adjusted my whole life. I test exactly the way you do. I've done my training and running from being a carnivore
Hmm.
to being a not a full vegan, but a vegetarian to blended to high fat to medium fat to and testing supplementation. I'm like huge greens. Like that's veggies are a huge part of my life, and powdered
Mm.
greens every single day, like regardless if I'm having 6 salads a day. I think if you're an athlete, you need to move and you need to test like the food you're eating.
Hmm.
If you can function the following day or even after, like the evening after, like I've done a couple of marathon ultras this past year that were fasted as a test. Like I fasted from the night before.
Wow.
I'll run 50 miles and see how I feel. Because I should have the right nutrition in my body and burn enough fat, like I can use that as my fuel to
Right.
run. Right. Um, so if you can test different things and you can function after, you're probably doing things that are right.
And
If
do you
you're
tend to have more of a plant-based diet? Are you?
blended, yeah, mostly. Yeah, we do a ton of veggies. I'm a intermittent faster.
Uh-huh.
So I do like not every day is the same. I might when I
Hmm.
work in my practice, I leave my house at 6 a.m. I get home at like 7:30 p.m.
Oh, that's a long
Right.
day.
Those are long days, but those are some days I have, like I call it like my fat coffee, or they call it branded bulletproof, but it's not bulletproof, but a fat coffee in the morning after I have a bunch
Hmm.
of water. I usually have a pint to 20 plus ounces of water with some magnesium in it or
Hmm.
minerals. That I'm done. I'm good till 7 p.m., 7:30. Like absolutely fine. Like no
Wow.
brain
Have you read
fog, no
Intuitive
exhaustion.
Fasting by Will Cole?
I have not.
Yeah, that's might be interesting for you to
Okay.
add
Yeah.
to your list. Yeah.
Um, so I'm no different than you in a sense that I think the best way to see your change or want to have a better change, you need to test different things because
Yeah.
it's different for everybody. Or
And it's different for each individual. I mean, you
yeah,
might eat differently and prepare your body right before a marathon
yeah,
with requirements that are specific to that
yeah,
goal.
yeah, exactly. And I think like a lot of the we'll call it that old thinking, even in nutrition, that old thinking. And I don't mean like 2,000 years old or like you're talking. I
Uh-huh.
mean like the
Yeah.
past 50 years of
Yeah.
like more sugar, have carbs, eat this, and it's like
Yeah.
and no. Like I'm not the guy
Right.
loading up with all the
Yeah.
garbage before a race. Like, it's not
Right.
exciting because I already know what I'm going to feel
Right.
like if I do that the next day or even during the
Totally.
race.
Or even, after having, and I'm not a big drinker, but After I've had a glass of wine the next day and I feel a little headachy, it's like, oh, okay, I get my a little squirt of lime with some coconut water. Like
Yeah.
growing up, it was like if people had hangers, like take an aspirin, but
Mhm.
now we understand electrolytes and all these things
Yeah.
differently. There's a solution pretty much for everything holistically if you look into it.
100%. I mean, the body's a pretty amazing thing. The intelligence that runs this ship is amazing. If you can take two cells and make 10 trillion or however many cells are in a human body, and I have to
Mhm.
think about like developing or changing the cells to organs to a living, breathing like us. How cool is
Yeah.
that? Like that intelligence, if it can do that, what can't it do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm not sure mine can run a marathon, but I don't
That
know. I'm
anybody
willing to
can.
test
You
it.
have to want to do it. Like
It's the mental piece for me is like when I run, I feel like I get in my head and I'm trying
that's the
often to get
point.
out. Yeah.
That's the
It's really
point.
uncomfortable, isn't
It is. It is.
it?
And it takes me a while. And I think that's for me, it becomes meditative. And I don't mean like like sitting with my legs crossed. I meditate every single day. But
Hmm.
I have like that crack. It's almost like cracking an egg. And sometimes it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 miles into like a bigger
Mm.
event. I'm usually going, this sucks. I hate this. I don't want to do this. I'm like, like that's
Right.
that's that voice that you don't like in the back, that little devil on your
Yeah,
shoulder.
sure.
And then like eventually it just shuts up and goes, you like your mind doesn't control you, you control the mind.
Right.
And
And
it
then do
becomes
you
a lot
just like
easier.
let your thoughts flow and see what
Yeah.
comes, or
Oh
do
yeah.
you,
I
you get
wish
bored
my
ever? Like, are you like, I don't know what to
well,
think about now?
well,
I'm
no,
just
because
curious, like 20
no,
miles in,
like I tell
what's
you, like
happening?
I run with this like a racing, it's called a race vest, and I always have like spirulina on one side, chlorella on the other side, like nuts and seeds and all sorts of stuff.
Oh my
Dates,
gosh.
dates are like my wife goes, we need like to buy like stock and like a company that makes
Stop.
dates, like grows
Israeli
dates.
dates are the best.
But all of this stuff. So, I'll just if my mind is like, bleh, that means I'm usually like I'm running out of
Hungry.
fuel,
Uh-huh.
right? So I'll
Yeah.
refuel myself slowly.
Yeah.
And I wish I could have like I could write and run at the same time because I have some of the most amazing ideas. And I'll stop running and be like, crap, what was
You
that
lost
thing I
it.
was
Can,
thinking
can
of?
you get
Like,
like a recorder
well, I
that
just
you keep in
yeah,
your by your spirulina? Oh,
phone. Like
okay.
I should just like take my phone out. I just not, not there, like not thinking about it until
Yeah,
after the fact. I'm like,
yeah.
no, but no, it's I think it's great for someone that's writing, running a company, is married, has 2 kids. Like it's a
Yeah.
great thing. Like, but it's a time game, right? You can't
Yeah,
disappear
for
for four
me, it's
hours.
for me, but you know what? There's really no, I have come to find there's no excuses really. Like I make
Yeah.
time to do the things I want to do mostly. I mean, it's been hard because my son is with me full time. He hasn't been in
Mm.
school, but I mean, I'm sure I could sneak off for a minute at least on a weekend, but
Yeah,
like how I want to use that time is so different
of
right
course.
now. But
Of
I
course.
actually find myself thinking and fantasizing about running, which I think is like my body's cue that I've
It's
been too
like, do
sedentary.
something, do it.
It's literally like run, Shauna, like
Yeah.
get up and run, move your body, like
Yeah.
because there are times where it's like I'm on the computer, I'm working, and then I'm writing because I love to write, and I'm doing all this stuff sitting, and then I see myself off in a field running, and I'm like, oh, yes, that's what I was meant
Well,
to
that's what you get
do.
your phone, buy like a small audio recorder that doesn't weigh a lot and run and
Yeah.
just maybe get a lapel mic that can clip on this waterproof from all the sweat. And you can like,
I
write a
love
book
it.
while you're running.
I'm done. Thank you. Yes, I'm
Right.
actually just started a second book. So
There
this is
you
my
go.
husband's going to be shocked at this new approach because usually I'm eating muffins
You
while I'm
see,
writing. This is
running,
a whole,
running.
this is a game
That's
changer.
good. And I will say, I'm going to give you this. So when and everybody, I'm sorry, if you want this, I'll give it to whoever's listening. Either audience, I have an endurance running program, an online program. I'll give it to you. But it goes into food and some of the stuff I've done and the
Oh,
meditation and the
wow.
mobility and the stretching and the things that I do that get me
Ah,
ready. I'm probably going to update it. This was like probably like a year and a half ago that it was last updated, but I do most of that stuff
mhm.
anyway. Probably could update some of my other things that are in there. But it's
That's
really
amazing. So you've put together the whole like protocol of
yeah, for me,
maximum
it works really
capacity
well for me.
running.
And what I share, most people can do. And it's a 45-day program,
Oh
which you
my.
can
And
scale to
how many of those
yourself.
days are you running and how many is prep?
Well,
I'm good at the prep part, probably. I've got the prep part.
It's scalable to anything, really.
Okay.
It's not for the person that wants to be able to get to a 5K. It's a person that could probably run like, for 15, 20 minutes and then
Awesome.
beyond.
That feels accessible. Is there a vest option? Can I order a vest with different pockets for dates and
yeah, you have different pockets for dates and
I'm very fascinated
macadamia
by
nuts
this.
on one side. We can
Yeah,
have that
I'm
conversation after
super
that. I think
jelly
I
of
recommend
that.
even, I think I have like shoes. I recommend. I probably talk about a vest, race vests and stuff in there. I don't remember, but
Amazing.
but I think to circle back, because this isn't about me. This is about you. This is
He's
about
pointing
you.
at me, folks.
I'm pointing at her. Right? To go back to this, and I hope everybody can see like the giddiness, the excitement, the intelligence that comes right out of you. And I think this is what happens when you have good health, when you choose
Oh,
to make good
thank
choices,
you.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I've seen how it goes in the other direction when I'm not feeding
Yeah.
myself properly, when I'm not sleeping enough, when I'm not
Yeah.
hydrated, I think sleep and hydration in conjunction with eating well and really continuing to, be aware of your thoughts and move in a direction that's going to get you to where you want to go. It's a good start. And then
Yeah.
I highly recommend the biannual crisis,
There we
the
go.
reevaluation.
Yeah. So then let's finish up with two questions then. So the first
Sure.
is best place to find you and your stuff.
Yes, Instagram, I'm alaya.naturals, and my Facebook is just Alaya Naturals. I sell on Amazon, and my website is alayanaturals.com, and I sell direct as well.
Very cool. So everybody, make sure you do check out the details there. Last question, which is really 3 parts. Yeah, I think you already have your
It's
answer.
a 3-part question. Oh man,
no,
that's a
just
tricky.
3 separate answers.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, okay.
So if you had to tell someone today, like you have to do these 3 things to unleash their human potential just a little bit more, what would it be?
Number 1, trust your intuition. Get out of your head and stay really in tune with your gut. Number 2, believe that anything is possible. There's limitless potential, I believe. And we have only begun to crack the code to unleashing our individuality and what we're able to both experience and express in the world. And number 3, take care of your body. And for me, that does look like hydration, getting enough sleep. Getting enough sleep means waking up without an alarm. If something else something in the exterior world is waking you up, you're probably not well rested, unless you're clinically depressed. But that's a different podcast.
Conversation,
right?
Exactly.
And then that in conjunction with, getting your physical needs met and nourished by organic foods whenever possible, and supplementing, because as well as we try to eat, unfortunately, the quality of soil and there are other elements that have affected our ability to eat pure whole diets. So getting some Alaya Naturals on board, or finding a supplement line that works for you, where you can really be assured that regardless of how busy your lifestyle is, you're feeding yourself, and in a way that's sustainable and conscious, and will take you to looking. I mean, I cannot believe you're in your 40s, by the way. So this is insanity. And this is just another demonstration of why it's so important, not because we're vain and want to look great, but because I imagine you feel as good as you look. I hope.
Good. Yeah. Oh yeah.
He stumbles out with a cane. No, you're running marathons, so we know you're good. Yeah, exactly. We know you're good. So did I answer the 3 questions?
Rock and roll. Perfect. Really good.
Awesome.
Good. So we'll finish with this. Everybody, thank you. And thank you, Shauna. This is awesome. Absolutely, really fun conversation. I knew it was going to be good when we had our pre-chat. So I knew this was going to go in a very good direction. So I want to thank you. Everybody, check her out. All her deets will be in the show notes. And I think you actually said you may have had a little possible something.
Yeah, I've got a promo for your listeners at Lifestyle Locker 20.
There we go. So you can jump on her website and get some good nutrition, people. Do it. All right. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed that episode with Shauna, the founder of Alaya Naturals. I know for myself, when picking out supplements, picking out things that I'm going to take to supplement my health, my life, my nutrition, I look for things that are of the absolute highest quality. Because I tell you what, quality is more important than quantity when it comes to the food, the supplements, the things that we're putting in our body. So please check her out. Check out all the details in the show notes, but you're going to find out that her supplements are pretty amazing. So check that out. Also hang in there and check out the 3065 Lifestyle Shift program. You'll see links in the show notes as well for that. And here is the commercial for that. All right, y'all. See you soon.
Hey, it's Dr. Josh Hant here, and we need to talk about your health, your fitness, and your lifestyle. I know you, if you're like me, you've seen sickness and disease and even death in your life. And we know the leading causes of death in the United States are cancer, heart disease, and diabetes. Many of these conditions and diseases are considered lifestyle-based. And I know that lifestyles in the United States and other countries are not where they should be. We also know that they make you more vulnerable to other sicknesses and conditions. We tend to get our advice and recommendations on health from commercials and marketing, from fast food to pharmaceuticals, and not from experts with real-world experience. Unfortunately, we follow people or products who don't walk the walk or talk the talk. They simply just don't care about your health. It's just about their bottom line. I know we've heard it from our friends and from even our own self-talk that we don't have enough time, we can't make the changes, or there's just too much to do to be healthy. But there is a way to actually take control of your lifestyle and have the accountability and the support you need. We can be bigger than our excuses. For the past 14 years as a chiropractor, I've worked and continue to work with thousands of patients with their lifestyle and ultimately their health. I am now bringing the same philosophy to the online space where we can work as a group to get better, stronger, healthier, and be bigger than our excuses every single day. I've created the 3065 Lifestyle Shift program to be an online-based, training-based program where you get to learn and be engaged with others in your journey towards a healthy lifestyle and ultimately a healthier life. To be part of this amazing movement, it's just $5 a month. Yes, it's only $5 a month, and that seems too good to be true. Well, it's not. So for the price of a gourmet coffee, you will have access to an amazing program and amazing people that want the best for you too. So when you dive into the content below this video to learn about our lifestyle philosophy, you'll see that we are incredibly unique. No other online program focuses on lifestyle the way we do and delivers the quality and the quantity of content that we do for just $5 a month. And it's not just about the movement. There's a lot more. It's really about your health. So check out the details and other videos below. And when you sign up, I'll even send you the ebook, Inside the Locker, which dives deeper into creating an awesome lifestyle. I look forward to seeing you on the inside of the Lifestyle Locker 3065 Lifestyle Shift program.